Today, we're going to change a battery in an iPhone. First of all, you need to make sure that you order the battery and that you have all the proper tools to take apart the iPhone. And these also will help. First, you remove the screws located at the end or the bottom of the iPhone. They're very small. Don't lose them. Then you use a special tool to go around the bottom to start to pry up the glass. And then also use a suction cup, which you can pretty much get anywhere, and put it on the glass. This is what you're going to use to pry it up. That was a cut. Okay, now once you get that loose, you should have already taken off the SIM card. I failed to mention that earlier, off of the end. You can just use a paper clip or the little tool that came with your iPhone to pop that SIM card off. And once you get the top off, or the glass, you will have 3 connectors inside labeled 1, 2, and 3, and you just basically pop those off, 1, 2, and then underneath is the third one. And in order to get the third one, you just push this little white lever forward a little bit, and then it'll pop right off just like that. See, and they're all labeled for you already, 1, 2, and then this one underneath here is number 3. And then you have the top off, and you can just set that aside. Then inside the iPhone, you also have some tabs that need to be popped off, some little connectors that need to be popped off. We'll do that next. I'll show you another screw or several screws that also need to be undone so that you can now remove the motherboard and get to the battery. Okay, now we're going to remove the tabs on the inside. Remove number 4. Number 5 is underneath here. This one is a little trickier to pull off. Number 6 pops right off. And then number 7. They're all numbered for you. Now, underneath number 7 is also one of the screws that you're going to have to pop off. And it's right underneath that Do Not Remove sticker. That's where screw number 7 is. So now we're going to remove the screws. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7 underneath the Do Not Remove sticker. Okay, now we're going to remove, after we remove the 7 screws, we're going to take the motherboard off. Now you got to be very careful with this because at the bottom here is a little ribbon where the camera, and so this might come off a little bit hard down here at the bottom. But and that's where the camera ribbon goes. And then that is the motherboard for the i4 or iPhone 3. So you can just set that aside. And then this is the battery that we want to remove. Now the challenge with this battery is that it's on the back here with two-face tape, and this can be very hard to remove. Now very quickly I'll show you how to get to your battery on your i4 iPhone. Now on the iPhone 4 it's a lot easier. Just like on the iPhone 3, you remove the 2 screws from the bottom. And then once you remove the 2 screws from the bottom, the back cover plate simply comes right off. You push it just like that and it comes off, and then here's your battery right here. So the iPhone 4 is a lot easier to change the battery. Now, to remove the battery, a pair of pliers does come in handy. Now this is a reenactment. Something to grab a hold of this little white tab at the top, and this will come off easier this time because we've already popped it off. But this is very sticky, and so that's how you pop the battery off. Now we're installing the new battery, and you have to be careful to make sure that you get this hole over this screw post. And the bottom of this will be sticky enough to hold your battery in, so you don't need to put any more two-face tape on here. And so just make sure that that goes over your post, because that will make contact with the bottom of your motherboard of your iPhone 3. The hardest part of getting the motherboard back in is snapping this down here that is a part of the camera mechanism for the iPhone 3. So line up everything make sure that underneath this little clip here, this little connector, there's a little prong that needs to make contact over here. And so all of these have to be in place. You'll line up all of your holes for your screws, and then you'll put a little bit of pressure on this clip, because this has to press down over this connector, otherwise your camera won't work. So the battery is in, and the motherboard is back in. Now we're going to screw the motherboard back in, and then put all the clips back on and connect all the connectors. Okay, now we're just putting the screws back in. One thing nice is that they kind of have a magnetic quality to them. So what I do is I put them on the end of the screwdriver. Make sure that they're on there very good. And there's one that is longer. The longest one is the one that goes underneath that do not remove sticker. So then you just put these on. It doesn't have to be in any particular order. You kind of put them in and it's easy, then it starts to snug up at the end. You don't want to over tighten. Kind of snug, it's getting snug right now. So that's it, all you want them is snug. You don't want it, they don't have to be real tight. Just snug them up so that it's in there, otherwise you're going to strip them. And then you don't want to strip them. Just snug them up. Very good. Okay, now you plug everything back in, and you can go in a reverse order if you want, but it really doesn't matter. Make sure 6 is on there very good, and I do these with my finger, and then I just press using this tool or any plastic tool just to make sure that they're seated properly. Number 4, these are easy. The hardest one to do is number 7, because underneath it has a round connector with a little pin in the middle. And there's not only one on this ribbon, but there's also one on the motherboard itself. And that is the hardest one to get on. And again, I just used my finger, wiggled it, got it on there, snapped it into place, and now all 7 screws are in on the motherboard, and all of the ribbons are connected to the motherboard as well. Now we're going to reattach the front glass, and this is going to be the challenge. The challenge of this one is ribbon cable number 3 that goes in this little doodad right here on the motherboard. So this is the first one that you want to get in, and you may have to use some tweezers or something to get this one in here. Now this is number 3, and you can see that it goes in behind the black block. And so once you get that in, then you have to lock the clip. Now it's locked into place. Number 1 ended up being the hardest one to get on there. What I did is just at an angle, I lifted it up and made sure that it was on square on that little plug there. And I just used my fingers, made sure it snapped into place, and then with the back tip of this or any plastic, you could use a popsicle stick if you just took a popsicle stick and made a, just took an emery board to the end. And then everything is back in. Double check your connectors. All of your screws are back. And now you're getting ready to put your glass back on. Okay, now we're putting our glass back on. Basically everything is going back on just like it came off. Just snap right back into place like that. And then you put your screws back in the end. Put your SIM card back in. Of course, you'll have when you put your SIM card back in, you'll have a SIM card on it. We don't have a SIM card for this one. And then you just simply use your 00, your 00 Phillips to put your screws in the end. And again, you're just snugging them up. Get them all the way in there, snug them. Not too much. You don't want to strip them out. It really wasn't as hard as what I thought it was going to be. That saying, I still don't know if it'll work or not. This would not keep a charge even overnight. Move your suction cup and everything should be go. Looks good. We'll try it up in a minute. Okay, now we're going to see if it fires back up. I hope it does. We have an apple with a bite out of it. That's always a good sign. And it works.